This podcast is produced by the Centre for European Volunteering, CEV. It is part of a project funded under the Citizens' Equality Rights and Values Fund of the European Union, called VERA, Volunteering Equality Rights Action. You will be able to hear, and if you're watching online, see, the faces and voices from 18 volunteers in the Netherlands. These images and recordings were gathered in a workshop in March 2023, co-organised with NOV. They are part of a unique European resource sharing the stories of diverse volunteers, showcasing the connections between their motivation and impact with European values. Before listening to the volunteers sharing their stories, let's hear from CV Vice President George Thompson, who as a volunteer himself facilitated the workshops.
Hello, I'm George Thompson. During the COVID pandemic, we all experienced the incredible power of human kindness and voluntary giving. To keep our spirits up during the crisis, we started in Scotland Radio V for volunteers. Radio V captured some amazing volunteer voices, and this inspired me to listen and look much more deeply to the people who are volunteers, to truly see and hear them and learn. At the same time, I was discovering about the ways in which mind and movement activities can bring presence and help us share our stories. My idea then was to embark on a creative project to invite individuals to share their story about who they are through their volunteering experience, to invite them to a workshop in presence and storytelling, to record their individual voice in a 2-minute recording, and for me to take their photographic portrait. The first photo portrait behind a veil and the other in front, inviting the viewer to really look carefully at the person and to listen deeply. So, Volunteer Faces and Voices was born. It's been the privilege and experience of a lifetime to meet these amazing people and the intimacy of their stories and portraits. I never interviewed and always just listened and discovered renewed faith in beautiful human beings. I hope you will equally enjoy seeing and hearing them.
I'm volunteering at Dress for Success, an organization who provides clothing for people who are in poverty and don't have the money to buy their clothes if they go for job interviews. It's a cause very close to my heart because as a former HR manager, I know how important the first impression is. And what I think is even more beautiful of the work is that when the people come in, we not only provide them with new clothes, but you can see them growing through the appointment. They go from quite insecure coming in to looking in the mirror in a different way to themselves, and their idea, the look in their eyes changes to more proud, more self-confidence, and more hope. And for me, that's beautiful to see, and I'm also very impressed to see that those people have more chances to build up their lives again. So for me, that's the big benefit of working at Dress for Success. It's not only giving and providing clothes, but changing into a different person.
In my younger years, I experienced a lot of physical violence to me from my mother and my sister, and I made a contract with myself. I never did this kind of violence in my own family. So the following 50 years, I experienced that the violence, the anger in me diminished slowly, and there was a kind of loving growing in my body. And now at the listening line, I am volunteer at the listening line. I experience that I am able to give the callers all my love in me. I give them a warm welcome. I walk with them, imagine, hand in hand on their path of their desire, their wishes, their sorrows, their griefs, their losses, and that is something that is so fulfilling for me that I discover the love is growing uh, more. It hasn't stopped when I was 60 or 65. It's still growing, and it's this kind of circular process that how much love I give, how much love there is growing in me, and yeah, it's so weird, kind of weird, but I love it. I love it so much. That's it.
I'm Dennis. My story started when I was 3 months old. I got sick. I went to. My parents brought me to the hospital, and something went wrong. I don't know what, but I had brain damage and walked funny. And in the years after, I had tried to be there and overcome those disabilities. Um, and didn't think so much about what my brain did. Was merely the walking. Skipped 35 years later, and I got the diagnosis brain the brain damage. Um, and my world turned upside down because at that moment I was teaching. I was learning to be a teacher in English. I did I did a lot of things, and mostly I could feel a wall. And now I finally found out what that wall was. Um, and the person, my mother, she was my big inspiration. She carried me through everything. Um, and when she died, she had Alzheimer's, and at that moment I had to become myself. I had to become. I couldn't rely on anybody else anymore. I had to be there, and being um, from a family that has to do with poverty, because my mother she had was a single parent. I didn't have much money, but and had to raise a child with a disability, which cost a lot of money. Inspired me to not only write about it as a writer, but also in my volunteer work, uh, sticking up for people with disabilities. So using my own experiences to help people, also in poverty here in both in Utrecht, and being at a function that I never thought I was comfortable with because I was always shy and not able to show myself, and now I'm at the forefront and even a face of, and that's was very scary. And well, at the end of my journey, I'm still there, so I'm thankful that I could use my experiences to help others.
My name is Els. I am from a big family. I'm the youngest girl, and I had an elderly mother who was born in 1917. So I have a lot of memories in the 60s and the 70s about how life then was. And I like creating, I like writing and painting, and so I'm an artist. In former time, I was a journalist, a freelance journalist. I have my already for years my own business, but now I'm over 60, and I found it a little bit isolated to work in my studio. So I like to do more volunteer work with people to be active in society. So now I do things like writing and making interviews with refugees who don't speak the language, and I work with children in the museum about former times, how my mother was living and with no electricity and that kind of things. And yeah, I like to connect with people and to also give color to people, to give pleasure. Yeah, to be there. I'm Hester. I volunteer at some gardens that gives me peace and makes me awareness of the earth, connect me to the earth. But the most volunteer I like the most is giving Dutch lessons to a boy from Yemen. And the word volunteers makes me a little bit nervous because I learned from my parents you're making your community and you're doing something together and for someone else. So I don't think about volunteer that I'm doing it, but I have an appointment with someone, and it makes me learn a lot in working with the boy because he's young, he's playful, so we're not sitting and talk, but we're making connection and learn about each other. I learn about his country, but the most of all, I learned how a boy, a young child, is the learning. It isn't A to B to C, but it's making what makes your really is important for you. He likes football, so we're talking a lot about football. We play football, and when he had to learn the tables were 1, 2, 3, 4. So and he learns me that it's not now to make it a wonderful time, and it connects me to a life that isn't like me, that isn't very easeful, and so I'm going home and I'm happy, and I hope he's also happy too.
Okay, I'm starting. So my name is Yule, and I think I'm quite young compared to other people here. So I'm 19 years old, and since I finished school, I thought of doing something for myself because all the time I'm not a really confident person, I would say, and in school I was always more focused on other people, what they are doing, and never really I've never really done something for myself. So I thought of doing really something on my own to learn myself, learn about more about myself, and learn to live my life in my own way and get to know people with just me and not other people. So I thought of doing a volunteering service, and yeah, I wanted to do something ecologically because I thought a social thing, I think it would suit me. But now I have both, and I really like it, and I feel that also the social part is suiting me, and that it's helping me and to learn more about myself. I think I've already gained a lot of confidence and know how to talk and deal with other people. The people I deal with is they have autism, so they are thinking and feeling sometimes in a different way in different situations, and that already taught me a lot. And yeah, that I have to focus on myself, but also on other people, think and reflect on myself, and stay calm, and yeah, I don't know what to say anymore.
Hello, I'm Lisbeth. As a child, I was reading a magazine about children in development countries. It was called Some. And I remember reading it, and I saw the pictures of children in faraway countries, and they were orphans, and my heart went out to them, and I thought, oh, and when I'll be big, I want to go there, to go places and help in orphan homes and care for them and play with them. I remember that very, very vividly. And then uh, now, so many years later, like almost 50 years later, I was having an interview with someone who took the initiative for a play garden, a beautiful play garden, and and I asked him some questions about it. And there's an amphitheater in the play garden, and he shared about that it was such a nice place with when few years ago there were big events with lots and lots of children, like hundreds of children, and there was a storyteller, and the children were so enthusiastic about it, but then there was not enough money, so it all stopped. And he shared his stories, and he was so enthusiastic about it, and I said to him, oh, but it's such a pity, it would be so nice if it could start again. Yeah, aren't there any funds? And then he looked at me and he said, don't, don't you want to join it? And really out of my toes I said, yes, I want to be part of this. And now it's a year later, and nearly in 2 months time there will be the first presentation in the amphitheater with, I hope, many children to enjoy. So I'm really looking forward to that.
I've been volunteering all my life already. Um, it's something that my parents did, so I was brought up in doing voluntary work as part of life, with no questions asked actually. Since I live here in Utrecht, I've been volunteering, especially most of the time in my field of work, which is PR and communications and marketing. And I really enjoy my job, and I really enjoy giving out the knowledge and the skills that I have to organizations that can use it. So I'm singing in a choir, of course. I'm doing the PR for a choir. There is a park opening of a park nearby with all people living around it. And of course, I'm doing the PR for it and the coordination of the initiatives over there. And now in the line, and my job right now is at the Concertcenter, which is a radio station uh, with classical and jazz and world music. I'm working there for 12 hours. It's a paid job, but the radio station is working with 180 volunteers, and I find it really interesting in my job to work with volunteers, and because I know that how it is to be a volunteer. So I feel a really connection with the people that work there with their passion for music, and giving their time and their knowledge and their skills voluntary to the radio station. It's fantastic to work with these people, and so it's lovely to to be able to, in my paid job as well, working with volunteers.
I'm Cyril. I'm working as a sport coach, as volunteer with Sport Coalitie. Um, we help people to reach their goals, to move, um, and it's not only this about sport or moving, but it's also about their life experience, and we help to recover some of the life experience they have in the past, or something they want to, they have a goal to achieve. And the most beautiful of this is to see people grow from where they came in and just starting to make achieving their goals, to be the person who they like to be. Um, so we try to bring the best out of the people and help them to come back in society, because sometimes it's like a separate, they separate from the social life. Um, the most beautiful is also to see how they get connected with other people and build a strong connection and community together, um, to yeah, to make the best of their life.
Yeah, so I work at the local radio, which is about all sorts of music, uh, from classical to jazz to blues, for example. But it's most of all music that's instrumental, but sometimes also singers. But the the thing I like about that is because my passion is music, and later I want to earn money with music, and this was an opportunity for me to go into volunteering and to gain some experience in this subject. So really gain some practical skills and knowledge about how does the radio work and how do we greet people who come live in the studio, and what what is my relationship with the technician behind the desk, giving me orders, for example, or uh, when I'm filming the musicians, for example, which is my task mostly. Um, yeah, what what is my role in that, and how can I, yeah, experience make it a beautiful experience for the musicians and for me as well. So I will gain some practical skills for the future to hopefully get a job and earn some income to make a living of it. And yeah, that's actually a wonderful thing, I think.
Ik ben Wopke. I'm a pensionado and I was looking for another task in life. I'm very interested in politics, so and I'm very interested in creative tasks. And now I have two voluntary jobs, one for a Green Party and one for a theater group in my neighborhood. And my work is secretary. So I do for the bigger picture the work for the Green Party, and for the smaller picture, my own environment, the secretary work for the theater group. And I think it's a very good combination. And what makes me tick is that I'm convinced that we need a quick shift in our society, because we can't go on like this. And I try to combine the two voluntary works. Um, and I hope it's my part of the job in making the world better. That's
Hello, my name is Niels. I'm a guitar teacher, and during my studies at the conservatory, but actually after also, I found that I couldn't play what I wanted to play. I hoped that all my playing problems would get solved there, but they didn't. So after finishing my studies, I started a whole process of analyzing are my problems with playing. And through that, I came to the fact that I had a lot of tension in my body and my muscles. And I was doing some strange things with my breath. And this was forcing me to play in a strange way through constriction. Furthermore, I was also busy with the whole process of therapy with a psychologist for a very long period. And after that period, I found out that I know everything. I know why things are the way they are, but I'm not feeling better. Through the mindfulness of the guitar playing, I found out that I could solve problems in my playing by relaxing and breathing through the notes. And after that, I found that I could use this also for my emotions. So I learned how to deal with emotions and to feel better because I had a lot of problems with anger and frustration. And I found out that if I could use the things that I learned from guitar playing and apply them to my emotions, I could get rid of the negative energy very much quite faster. And this is actually my motivation for volunteering, so I can teach people how to lose the negative energy.
My name is Ria, and I am a volunteer to help people to get the Dutch language, reading, writing, and to get the permit to stay in the Netherlands. So that's very hard to learn. And in the past, I also help people who has low lessons in Dutch people who get not finished basic school to read and write. Reading is very important in your life. And in this moment, I help little children in basic school, children from 7, 8, 9 years old, which has less reading performance to get better reading, to get a better start in the rest of their school career. So that's what I'm doing, and I enjoy it to see people and especially children growing in that side. Because when you can't read and write, you are nothing in this world. You can go by bus or read the paper or letters from the government. So it's very important that everyone can read and write on a good level. And that is, see people growing therein is for me the goal I have.
So I'm Isaline, I'm 18 years old, and that means that my whole life would say, stuck in the school system. So I would describe it as a really secure surrounding, having structure, being told what to do, having fulfilling task, expectations. The goal is to succeed the best, grade, and I was really focused on that, and I forgot a little bit about myself and who I was, and yeah, that's when the school stops. That was the big question: what I'm going to do and where I am. So that's where the story starts, with finding myself and getting to know myself better. And that's why I started this volunteer year. I didn't know what to expect, but I'm also a really curious person and adventurous, and that it just felt right to just jump on that opportunity. And so I landed in the Netherlands. I'm originally from Germany, and I landed on a farm with horses, cows, and like you said, also living with people that have autism. So that was the journey of finding my way, what the farm system would be, and getting to know the people. I didn't work before with people that have autism, and that was a really up and down story, because sometimes I had the feeling of what this system meant, but then also really hard situations happened with the people there having anger issues, or making break the windows, and so and this is in the middle where I try to find where I want getting to know getting to know myself, and yeah, so I really learned that I'm in the beginning of getting to know myself and having these experiences and yeah, regulating them and try to learn more about myself.
My name is Geert. Over the last couple of years, I rolled into bike advocacy here in Utrecht, and I love it to show people the joys and the benefits of cycling, and that's a thing that we take for granted here in the Netherlands, but for a lot of people in other countries, it's not. And I love to be able to show that to people what's possible when you have a good cycling infrastructure and all the benefits from that. Last year there was a parade in Utrecht, and I went there with my family to look. And at a certain point in the parade, there were elderly people being driven in their wheelchairs, and they were in the middle of the attention, and they were loving it, and the joy on their face struck me in my heart, and that was an amazing experience. And then that same week, the bicycle mayor of Utrecht did a call for people to help him start a project, Bike Buddies, in which people that can cycle take out elderly people or people with disabilities to go cycle. And well, I thought that's what I'm gonna do. That's my calling to together with a bike advocacy and help people for whom it is not normal to cycle or who just can't or dare and do it anymore, to help them go out and about again, have some exercise, get out of their homes, get in touch with people. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm helping with some other volunteers to start an organization so we can bring more people the joy of cycling and make it inclusive also for the people that don't do it now.
Oké, ik ben 6 maanden geleden met pensioen gegaan. En toen kon ik 7 dagen per week leuke dingen doen. En toen viel het me op dat dat is wel heel veel om 7 dagen dat je dingen gaat zoeken. Toen denk ik van, nou, ik moet toch wat gaan doen. En toen kende ik natuurlijk het Volksbuurtmuseum, dat is hier vlakbij. En dat is een museum waar je laat zien hoe het 100 jaar geleden het leven was. Daar word je 100 jaar geleden terug in de tijd geworpen. Dus ik denk dat is een leuk museum om eens een keer te kijken. En gelukkig vroegen ze daar vrijwilligers, hadden ze vrijwilligers nodig. En voordeel daarvan is dat je net zo vaak aanwezig kan zijn en aan kan melden per week als dat je dezelfde voorkeur aangeeft. Dus ik doe dat 3-4 keer per week. Doe ik een dagdeel. En ik vind die interactie leuk. Maar toen werd mij gevraagd op een feestje, een paar maanden geleden, door de directrice van, we zijn natuurlijk hartstikke blij met jou, maar wat beweeg ik? Ik zeg, nou, ik vind het leuk dat je me bedankt. En dank je wel daarvoor. Maar als ik hier aan het werk ben, dan heb ik zoiets van, ik ben morgen lekker vrij. En als ik dan vrij ben, denk ik, ja, nou, ik ga morgen lekker werken. Dat is de reden dat ik hier vrijwilliger ben.
Ik werk ook voor Dress for Success, dus dat hoef ik niet uit te leggen. Ik heb veel vrijwilligerswerk gedaan, allemaal van het zwaardere soort. En nu wilde ik wat lichter. En met name, ik heb het financieel goed. En ik dacht, ik wil graag iets doen voor arme mensen. Zonder dat ik het gevoel heb van de rijke mevrouw die gaat iets doen voor de liefdadigheid voor de arme mensen. En toen kwam dit een keer voorbij op televisie. Dacht, dat is het. Echt, ja, mensen helpen dus die al een beetje uit de ellende omhoog aan het gaan zijn, want ze gaan solliciteren. En waar ik helemaal blij van word, is dat mensen ze bellen en ze zeggen ik heb weinig geld. En dat ze gewoon op hun woord geloofd worden. Dat er dus niet gezegd wordt van je moet 100.000 formulieren eerst invullen voordat wij geloven wat je zegt. Maar we vertrouwen je, je mag komen. Dan krijg je een afspraak van 5 kwartier. Zijn er 2 mensen die volle aandacht voor je hebben. Jij mag je verhaal vertellen. Dan niet te veel in de problemen schieten. Dat willen sommige mensen wel eens doen. Ik heb een hulpverlenersachtergrond en dat is een beetje mijn valkuil. Want als jij dan zegt van, oh, dit was zo moeilijk, heb ik de neiging om te zeggen van, goh, vertel eens. Nee dus, je moet een beetje afstand bewaren. Maar goed, dan krijgen mensen dus advies en we dragen kleding aan. En dan is mijn valkuil ook van als iemand uit het pashokje komt en die ziet er schitterend uit, dat ik heel enthousiast zeg, oh wat leuk, wat zie je er mooi uit en dit. Ook fout, want het gaat er natuurlijk om dat iemand zelf zich lekker voelt in zijn kleding. Want zeker als je gaat solliciteren, dan kan je er wel mooi uitzien. Maar als jij net niet je lekker voelt in die kleding, dan maak je natuurlijk een fout. Je bent al onzeker genoeg, of zenuwachtig genoeg voor een sollicitatiegesprek. Je moet je echt helemaal lekker voelen in die kleding. En het leukste is van wat Amanda ook al zei, dat je mensen vaak zo ziet binnenkomen en ze gaan zo de deur uit. Op een hele eenvoudige manier eigenlijk. Door de aandacht die ze krijgen, het vertrouwen dat ze krijgen, dat ze serieus genomen worden. Dat je ze mooie kleding aan, dat ze die krijgen. Dat mensen daar zo blij van en zo dankbaar zijn. Oh, zo heerlijk, heerlijk.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. Don't miss the chance to listen to more than 100 additional stories from other European countries about the importance and impact of volunteering. To know more about our activities and projects, please check our website www.cev.be and follow us on social media. REACT, Rights, Equality and Active Citizens Together.